And I think it's important that we take some time to think mindfully. What I'm trying to say is that how can we begin to pay attention to the world around us if we don't pay attention to the world inside us? The physical body is an amazing thing, a machine that works tirelessly and converting energy into matter and matter into energy. Every second that we are alive, we are filled with electricity. Our brain sends thousands of signals to our nerves, to our muscles. They expand and contract based on only the tiniest of impulses. The bone marrow gets churned out into thousands of blood vessels, and 1,000 neurons leap and whir together and fire in the brain. Our bodies are unlikely miracles, astounding miracles, that are just fueled by oxygen. We can survive for 3 weeks without food, 3 weeks without food, but only 3 days without water, and barely 3 minutes without the oxygen that we need. We pay attention to what we eat and how much we drink, but often we don't stop to consider how we breathe. Noticing and controlling our breathing sits in the overlap section of the Venn diagram between the mindfulness and yoga, between the sciences of spirituality, and chiefly between high-minded theory and practical solutions. We don't have to read any scientific studies or believe in any particular texts to understand that breathing deeply can help us feel better, or that hyperventilating can make us feel worse, especially in panic attacks. Have you ever been in that situation where you're extremely overwhelmed and you start to breathe really rapidly and really deeply, and you start to pant and you start to worry because your chest is imploding, it pains, your lips are going numb, your fingers are tingling? It's hyperventilation. Hyperventilation is taking in a rapid amount of oxygen into the body, and it can't control what the amount of oxygen is coming in. So we need to slow down everything. Get our mind at rest. Concentrate on our breathing. Just close your eyes. Breathe deeply in, hold it for a couple of seconds, and then breathe out. Slow everything down. Be mindful about the oxygen that's coming into the body. You don't eat 6 or 7 McDonald's at once. If you did, you'd get a pain in your stomach. You'd feel bloated. You'd have stomach cramps. It's the same thing with oxygen. Too much oxygen being taken in will cause palpitations in the chest, numbness in the lips, tingling fingers. So we need to slow down that breathing process. Everyone knows, as I just said, the wisdom in being told, take a deep breath. And everyone knows how horrific it can feel to be breathless. Focusing just on our breath is a kind of applied mindfulness, whereby to start the process of understanding your own presence in the world with just the air you breathe and out at every moment. Take a little time to try the exercises that I'm just going to tell you now. Do it right now, wherever you are. We need to observe our breath. Use this particular exercise to focus on just your breath. This will come in handy throughout the rest of the day, the rest of the week, and the rest of the month. I suggest you either stand or sit comfortably with your shoulders back. Relax. Now be as still as you can be. And just breathe normally. You need to be observing the breath without any judgment. Don't try to change it or modulate it. All you are trying to do with this first exercise is just to observe your natural state of breathing. This is about noticing what is your normal. It's about being mindful every breath that you take and you put back into the world. And just ask yourself, how does this breath feel in my mouth, in my nose? How does it feel in my chest? How does the breath feel in my lungs? Is it reaching every part of my lung, or is it just sitting on the top? How does it feel in my throat? Is it cold? Is it hot? Does it hurt at all? How does it feel in my body when I breathe in? And how does it feel in my body when I breathe out? Just make a mental note of anything that doesn't seem quite right. So this takes me on to the art of breathing. You probably notice that the breathing is a bit uneven. Some breaths are slower, some others can just be a little bit faster. Sometime it might take an extra second for you to inhale or exhale, or perhaps even more. It's just easy to see how this type of ragged breath can contribute to a sense that life itself is a little ragged. And now, if we can modulate our breath, can we modulate our sense of how our lives are passing too? Breathing, unlike many forms of complementary therapy, requires no special equipment or space. All you need is the willingness to turn your attention inward just for a moment or two. What I'm trying to explain here is that everything from sacred yoga practices to theories of mindfulness, both ancient and modern, to physiological and scientific studies, you'll realize that many of these techniques are just simple, practical, everyday remedies for practical, everyday problems. It seems that in many ways the art of breathing is really just scientifically sound common sense. Whether you're a religious person or not, this time-honoured prayer holds certain truths to it. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. This prayer is used in many different things, from alcoholism to stress to depression to anxiety. But if you listen to the words very carefully and you repeat these to yourself, they can make big difference. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. We need to think about changing the way we breathe. Life is like our breath. It can seem random, irregular, it can jump all over the place, but in this chaotic and unruly world that we live in, our breath is the only thing that we have total control over. Although it can run away with us, we have got total control over it. There's so much we can't change in this world, but the one thing that we can do is change our breathing. Remember to observe your breath in that previous exercise I just mentioned, and consider what felt good to you in your breathing. What you didn't feel so good about. Was the air reaching every part of your lungs? What about your diaphragm? Were your breaths even or steady or irregular? So what I want to go over now is another exercise. I'm going to try and modulate those breaths. The technique is based on an ancient a yoga exercise called, I think it's Samaranti, which means same action, basically. I know it by the same action. You're simply going to try to make your inhalation the same as your exhalation. Hopefully you will feel a little calmer after this exercise, and you'll begin to see why paying attention to the way you breathe is very, very important. So this is called the 4-4 breath method. All else feels out of control, try practicing this simple exercise to regulate your breathing. Now sit or lie down comfortably. Take a minute or two just to settle yourself, and just think about your breathing as we did in exercise 1. Just breathing in normally, breathing out normally. You can close your eyes or you can focus on something in the room. Just take that moment just to breathe nice and steady. Place your hands at the bottom of your rib cage. You should be able to feel the base of your ribs under your palms. Now breathe in and out normally, noticing your breath as before. Observe your breathing. After a minute, try to even out those breaths. If it helps, start a count in your head like 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. Count evenly and reasonably and slowly. So breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4. Try to keep your breaths even and steady, so that each beat of the inhale is exactly like the other 3 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep the rhythm in your mind. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. This rhythm is going to settle you. It's going to settle your mind. It's going to settle your breathing. It's giving you a correct amount of oxygen into your body. It's just going to relax you. Really focus on keeping your breath steady and constant. Check your shoulders are rising and falling evenly. You should be able to feel your ribs moving under your hands. Try to really breathe into your hands, expanding and contracting your lungs. Are you breathing into every part of your lungs? Filling them lungs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Filling them lungs, feeling your shoulders move, feeling your diaphragm move, feeling your hands on your rib cage. Constant beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep this rhythm going in your mind constantly. Have you ever heard this phrase? Work smarter, not harder. Are you trying to breathe more air than you were trying to make? Just let your normal volume of air fill your lungs properly, instead of just settling in the front and center of your chest. Instead of breathing in deeply, hyperventilating. That is hyperventilating. When we panic, when we get that anxiety, we go just doing that is making my light head, making me see stars, making me panic. Just hyperventilating makes you panic, makes your lips numb. Stop that. Take a couple of deep breaths. Now, get into the rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Settle yourself down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Concentrate on your breath. Concentrate on keeping consistent. Concentrate on keeping that beat. In. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Your mind is clearing. Your fingers are coming back to normal. You're starting to get the blood and the blood pressure settling. You're starting to feel relaxed and calm. And that is the key. That is the key. So keep this going, this exercise, just sitting there and thinking about nice thoughts. Rivers, oceans, candles burning, get some incense going. Keep this constant, just 1, 2, beats, 3, 4, breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep it going for about 10 minutes or even longer, and just ask yourself this: how does the breath feel now in my mouth and nose? How does my chest feel? How do my lungs feel? How does my body feel when I breathe in? How does my body feel when I breathe out? How do I feel for having spent this time just my breath?